So you've got a promotion, you went to college like they said you should, and perhaps you even bought a house, but you still feel stuck. You haven't progressed in the way that you should. Well, the good news is, I get it. I totally understand exactly how you feel. And that is because in the last 20 years or so, the tools to go and pursue success have gotten way more expensive. Buying a home is more unaffordable than it has been in modern history. We know how expensive college has been and how difficult it is to get a solid job in America today. But for those who are successful, who have good jobs, who have solid incomes, why is feeling stuck such a common refrain, and how can you get unstuck? I've got 3 things that can help you get unstuck, and we'll start off with the first one, but you gotta hear me out. It's a little bit of a personal story here too. But what is success for you? Define what success is for you, and more importantly, what are the symbols and the markers of success, and where did you get those things from? Who gave them to you? Who told those things to you? Here is why. For me, I grew up in a neighborhood where all the successful dads, including mine, had 2 cars. They all had a house, but it was the 2 cars that I always noticed for me. All right, you had a car that you went to work with, and then it was always a nice sporty car that you only drove on the weekend, especially on Sundays. Sometimes it was a red convertible, other times it was just a nicer car that you only drove on the weekends. I don't know why that always stuck out to me as a kid, but every successful dad had it. Even when I got married to my wife, my father-in-law had the exact same thing. A car he drove to work and a nice convertible. That was the definition of successful dad. Does that have to be my definition? Did I sit down and define that for me, and does that fit for me? Because at 35, I would feel inadequate and behind if I said that is my definition of success. Because if that was my definition, I would feel inadequate and behind. I'm a dad, I have a house, but I ain't happy because I don't have them 2 cars. Guess what? That is how I would feel. But I don't have that definition, nor should I, because it doesn't fit my lifestyle and it don't make sense. I work from home. So what do I need 2 cars for? I live in a cul-de-sac. Where am I going to park that extra car? It does not make sense. And also, payments for cars are what, almost $1,000, creeping up on $1,000? I mean, it just does not make sense in this day and age, and it never did. That's just what I saw. What I saw doesn't have to be my internal definition of success. So for you, what does success actually look like from an internal perspective? Not what you're seeing on your timeline, not what you saw your parents do, not what you're seeing and hearing from everybody else. Because what often happens is you may feel stuck because you saw everybody else buy a house. Does it actually fit for your lifestyle? You may feel stuck because you see everybody else hitting some milestone, because you may see everybody go to grad school, because you may see everybody do X, Y, and Z. But does it actually fit for what you want to do? Yes or no? That's the first part of it. Some things may apply, some things might not. So that's the first thing. Sit down and see, what is it that you want to do? What is success for you in your field, and what's going to make you personally happy, not based on what everybody else is doing. All right, that's the first thing. Then step 2 is prioritize and say, of the things that I've listed, because it doesn't just have to be one, which ones do you want to do and in what order? Some of us say, hey, look, I would be happier if I just didn't have this debt. That's fine. That can be 1, 2, or 3. Others say, hey, when I hit $1 million in investments, that can be another one. Maybe you still want those 2 cars. That can totally still be that can still be something that is success for you. Maybe it's still owning a home. All things are on the table as long as they're internally defined by you, but just sort those things out. Because when you don't prioritize, what happens is what? You try to attack all those things at the same time with no order. For example, if you've got $100,000 and you split them into 10 goals, you're only putting 10,000 at the same time, and it's going to take you forever to hit all of those things, especially if one of those, buying a home, is $400,000, right? Not that you would pay the whole thing in cash, but you guys get the point. Instead, it might make sense to say, look, this is goal number 1. Let me put 80% of my effort or 80% of my available capital towards this one. This is the main thing. Let's knock that out. Then we're going to go to the next one. When we pay off debt, we use the snowball method, where you're attacking the smallest balance first. That is still prioritization. You need that organization to say, look, here are my goals. This is the thing that I am going for first. Because the truth is, you can have it all. I believe you can. I'm the type of financial planner that says, yes, I do think you can have it all. You might not be able to have it all at the same time, but it's just a matter of when do you want to have these things and in what order. Speaking of having all the things, if you feel like you've done all the right things, you got a solid job, you've got solid income, but you feel like, hey, you're not moving forward fast enough, you're not gaining momentum, I can help you build a financial plan that actually helps you to move forward. Go to buildingbread.com/callkev and we can talk one-on-one on building you a financial plan. Now we can move into the piece that I would argue most people fall off on. That is distraction. For successful people, to be successful usually means you're probably pretty busy with your 9 to 5. You're probably pretty busy running your life, okay? Maybe that's doing 10 things a day, maybe it's doing 50, I don't know, okay? For me, right, I am working on a major project. I gotta do these videos. I got a lot of reading and research to do for these videos. At times, we're talking about doing stock lists. I have to work with a client. I'm doing a lot. And then I gotta take the kids to do all the activities. It's a lot going on. However, what happens if I don't have priorities? I don't know what's important, right? How do I know how to attack all those goals, right? Well, the key here is automation. That is how I keep my investments on track. You think I'm sitting here and moving money to my savings every day? No. Automation is the answer to doing all of that. So it is going to take you 10, maybe 20 minutes to sit down and say, hey, according to my priorities, I need to automate $200 to my investment account, to my Roth IRA, whatever that thing is going to be. I need to automate another $500 to pay off this credit card. Automate it and you done. You good to go. That is one way you can do it. A second way is you can obviously hire a financial planner to go through and make sure those automations are good, go through and make sure you're not missing anything, and make sure your automation plan makes sense. Now, obviously, I'm biased, so I would say, hire me to go through and do that. But either one of those is going to work. But the key thing is, one reason you might feel like you're stuck and not moving as much as you should or not moving as fast as you should is because you are so good at what you are doing that you may not be paying attention to some of those other areas. And you may not be automating some of those other areas because you just may not be aware. I say this all the time. Some of the best chefs don't run the best restaurants at times because cooking and running a business are two separate skills. There are two separate, there are so many great restaurants that have failed in your hometown and my hometown and everywhere in between because they don't have a good business manager who runs that side of it. Like who's washing dishes, who's setting the tables, who's doing the waiting. Yeah, the food is good because you can cook, but the business side of it is a whole different thing. Who's setting prices? All that stuff. Those are two different skills. So that is what I mean. So you got to sit down. What is success for me? Prioritize it. Which one of those metrics of success is the most important? And then automate those things to ensure that you're hitting them so you can still focus on being successful. Still focus on what it is that can continue to get the bag. Right? Continue to get the money and the cash to do those things that are most important to you. If you want to learn more about investing, finance, and everything in between, you want to check out these videos right here.